I watched a video yesterday of Bernie Sanders talking to Claude. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm definitely a left-leaning person by far. I'm queer um, and for a good social safety net, and hell, I'm now on disability, so like, I'm in Canada, so like I don't have really any skin in the game in like the U.S. elections, and it's any more than you know, obviously what happens in the states affects everyone, um, but it the argument made. So Bernie Sanders, there's like I said, I like him, and he tends to make some pie in the sky type propositions, things are probably good aspirations, but aren't necessarily realistic. I don't think what he said in this is a good aspiration, period. And I'll get to that. So first of all, he mentions jobs in like for one sentence at the beginning of the conversation with Claude, and then completely drops So I thought that was a bit of a bait and switch. But then immediately just goes over privacy. Now, large language models are collecting a certain amount of data from just for training, especially if you opt in. And I think even if you don't opt in, and to think that the outputs of the chats that you generate aren't in some way affecting the models. No, computers can erase memories is much better than humans can, but um, they still are parsing that information in ways. But it goes into basically profiling and targeting people, specifically in ways to manipulate them. He suggests a moratorium on building AI data centers, which first of all wouldn't really fix the problem. I mean, we'd still have the existing data centers. It would slow down training new models. It wouldn't stop the existing models at all. It's it'd help the environmental impact, I suppose. But it would just completely slow down and cripple the advancement of the U.S. based companies. We'll get into the U.S. based stuff later. But then then the Claude it pushes back a little bit and says, no, common sense. Your issue is the data collection and stuff. We need to have regulation while not stifling innovation. And then Bernie Sanders says, well, these AI companies have lots of money lobbying the government, so you can't get any legislation passed. And then the AI says the dumbest response, and said AIs make mistakes. AIs it says, you're right, that was naive of me. A moratorium would be the correct way to go. But Bernie Sanders' own response to the previous thing, if you can't get past the common sense legislation and to restrict what data they can collect, what data they can save, privacy constraints, how are you getting the moratorium passed? That's like saying groceries are too expensive. If we can't afford the groceries, so let's take over the grocery store. How are you taking over the grocery store if you can't even afford the groceries? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. And his own argument is defeated by his own previous argument. And I mean, he's smart enough to know this. Like, it reeks of propaganda, and like, honestly, I think the guy's better than this. If you can't do one, you can't do the other. It's just anyway. That also ignores. And I forgive the video for this. I don't consider this necessary manipulation, but it also ignores something else. The argument is that the AI being able to profile people is such a existential threat to our democracy, or to their democracy, or democracy in general, because of being able to target people directly and manipulate them. But if you stop U.S. innovation on that, you're not stopping China. The internet is an open playing field. Being able to scrape the entire internet of data is, something any AI could do, regardless of where it's located. So, you hurt the U.S. companies; they can't continue developing, but the Chinese companies continue. So now the Chinese companies have the technology, but no one in America does. So, the supposed dangerous technology you wanted to regulate, now you have no control over it, no regulatory power over it at all. But a foreign adversary, let's say, they does. The whole argument is just naive, even stupid. Claude says, "Oh, you're right. I was being naive." No, Claude wasn't being naive. Claude was telling him that you need to push back against the lobbyists and get the legislation passed, because his whole moratorium idea, if you can't get legislation passed, you can't get the moratorium passed. Yes, it's like it's like saying you can't do the little thing, but we can completely stop them. They're too powerful to let you even tell them what to do. But they're not so powerful that we can completely shut them down. I think we need more honesty from politicians, especially people like Bernie Sanders, that have built up a reputation of being straight talking. But honestly, maybe he's just getting old, and then he didn't realize is how stupid the idea that his own argument against regulation defeats his argument against a moratorium. But I think that's being a little bit too charitable. No, I think he was trying to make a point, and especially when you're using live with AI, like Claude live chat, or ChatGPT or Grok or any of them. The models might be the same, but they're responding quickly. They're not in full thinking mode. No, they're not going to spend 20, 30, 60 seconds thinking through a response before giving it to you, because they're trying to have a conversation. It's designed to be faster. So you're not even getting the full reasoning power of the model. Not to mention, he doesn't preface it by saying, give me honest and objective feedback on everything I ask. Now Claude is less sycophantic than some other LLMs, but it's still it's still designed, need and incentivized to give you feedback to help you argue your point. And so it's going to err on the side of agreeing with you in general. You need to start by saying, hey, I need you to be objective. I need you to push back on me. I need you to give me honest feedback. And so I thought this video was, one, and it showed a complete failure of the model to think through the problem. And two, it showed something oddly deceptive on the part of Bernie Sanders. And it rubbed me the wrong way, and I felt the need to respond to it. Be queer and be geeky, and expect better, especially from those you trust.